Please, no, just kill me.
Oh, stop your blubbering, human. Come to me. Now! Do you want to live?
What?
If you want to live, I can send you to a safe place. Safe as any, I suppose. Touch it. Idiots. It's a miracle they ruled the Earth for as long as they did.
Hello everyone, this is YMB Snake Eye from gamesibeat.com, here to bring you a review of Darksiders III for PC on Steam. Darksiders 3 is an action-adventure game developed by Gunfire Games and published by THQ Nordic. The game feels like a cross between Diablo and Dark Souls with Zelda-inspired puzzle elements. You play as Fury, a hot-headed and no-nonsense Nephilim of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The game starts with Fury being summoned to speak with the Charred Council. It is there she finds her brother and fellow Nephilim War locked up in chains. War has released the 7 deadly sins upon humanity, and the Charred Council has tasked you with cleaning up the mess. You must travel to Earth and eliminate the sins. That is, until you uncover a conspiracy of epic proportions. Can Fury set aside her anger and rage in order to save humanity? You can tell a lot of work went into crafting the world of Darksiders 3. The concept seems to be a bunch of other concepts put together in a sometimes awkward fashion. When I first entered the world, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to be doing. Many people called it a hack-and-slash action-adventure game. For me personally, I felt that description was ill-informed. The game tries to accomplish many things, but none of them greatly. Instead, you have a bunch of popular game mechanics stitched together like an old quilt. As you progress, you are gifted powers of the Hollows. These powers allow you to unlock different parts of the map. Once you play for some time, you start to understand the direction Gunfire Games is headed. It's at that moment the concept becomes clear and the game becomes more enjoyable. It's just a shame it took so long for it to happen. Darksiders 3 has a unique art style to it. It reminds me of a 90s image comic book, but with far less detail. The levels aren't bad, but some of the texturing can be a little bland. I also noticed many unnatural looking structures on the edge of the map. I assume this is to keep the player locked into the level progression. The character models are a bit stiff and lacking fluid body mechanics as well as detailed textures. With all that said, the art style is very consistent, and the particle effects are vibrant and colorful. The highlight is definitely the bosses and mini-bosses. I found myself drawn to the larger enemies as they just looked more impressive and were challenging to battle. The game's soundtrack is low-key and just background noise in most cases. I'm trying hard to remember any track that stands out, and I simply cannot. The voice acting is very well done. Cissy Jones does a great job voicing Fury. You can feel the annoyance and disgust in her voice early in the game. Then as you progress, she does a great job articulating Fury's conflicts with humanity. As far as the sound effects, the weapons and items don't stand out too much, but they do sound good. The enemies don't really give much feedback except for the occasional grunt when throwing an attack. I would like to note though, that noise cues are important in this game. Your primary damage dealer is countering with heavily damaging arcane attacks. This also replenishes your wrath bar, which is important for fighting multiple enemies at once. For this playthrough, I used my custom gaming PC with Darksiders 3 on Steam. I'm using a recent generation i7 CPU and an NVIDIA 1070 Ti. I had no problems running the game on its highest epic settings, even in the most intense moments, such as entering Havoc form while fighting a boss. The main issue I had while playing this game was engaging multiple enemies in combat. The game features a targeting system which allows you to focus on one enemy. You can also toggle between them using your right joystick. You can also attack without focusing, but I would not recommend this. The targeting system works fine when you are facing enemies in front of you as a group or a single enemy. However, once enemies surround you, it can leave you vulnerable. That's when countering dodging, and wrath meter come into play. The camera angle also suffers in certain rooms or enclosed spaces while fighting enemies. For PC gamers, there is some relief in a third-party modification that gives the game a field of view slider. Just be careful though installing any modifications from unknown sources. I also want to take a moment to mention some issues I had while playing the game on my PC. I encountered 4 game crashing bugs in the game. I'm not sure if they're the same bug or they're different bugs. These crashes usually happened after porting using a serpent hole. I also noticed my character would get stuck on certain serpent holes as well. I want to be clear though, the game ran smoothly for 90% of the time. The game's entertainment value comes primarily from its story mode and boss fights. The story revolves around the game's central figure, Fury, as she embarks on her mission to reverse the apocalypse by defeating the 7 deadly sins. The plot is simple at first. Fury is dispatched by the Charred Council to fix a mess her brother War made by releasing the 7 deadly sins. As you progress throughout the game, you start to unravel an insidious plot against humanity. It's during this that the character of Fury starts to evolve and change. The cutscenes are fun to watch and have great voice acting. The writing is a bit cheesy, but nothing you wouldn't expect from a gaming plot. The main focus of the game besides the story is its boss fights. There are 7 main bosses to the game: Envy, Wrath, Avarice, Sloth, Pride, Gluttony, and Lust. Each boss has a unique style to them. They all look great with very detailed character models. There are 4 difficulty modes to the game. From easy to hard is story, balanced, challenging, and apocalyptic. I personally don't see a reason to have 4 different modes, but it doesn't hurt. When playing the game, I tried story, balanced, and apocalyptic. Story was a bit easy, and apocalyptic required a lot of technical gameplay. Most players will be satisfied with balanced mode. If you want to challenge yourself, fight the bosses in apocalyptic mode. While they aren't as difficult as Dark Souls bosses, they require you to learn the enemy's patterns and to counter and use your resources wisely while wielding the right weapons. To sum it all up, Darksiders 3 was a positive experience for me. It took me a while to warm up to the game due to its disjointed game concepts. I was also slightly frustrated by some confusing parts of the map, but I really enjoyed the voice acting in the story mode and the somewhat difficult boss battles. If you are a fan of games like Dark Souls and Diablo, you might enjoy Darksiders 3. While the game doesn't do any one thing great, it is still a solid experience. With the plague of unfinished games being released this year, Darksiders 3 does not suffer from being half-baked. It's a solid gaming experience, and that was enough for me. Thanks everyone for watching this review. Please subscribe and feel free to leave feedback for me in the comment section below. I just want to thank everyone who left comments in my last video, Deep Rock Galactic. Please check us out at gamesibeat.com. We're trying to grow a positive gaming community, and we will also be releasing much more content, so please stay tuned.